I figured it would be good for us to kind of go through our process of, now this is a big caveat because every project and every innovation is very different. But what we wanted to do is, I wanted to sort of kind of lay out for you a production pipeline. So if you are working with a creative agency on developing something, these are some of the steps that you should hopefully expect to see when you're working with them. So typically we're getting involved with research and analysis. We do the market research, focus groups, and all the various things that could be of interest for understanding the consumer piece. We then our team starts to brainstorm. We come up with different concepts that we kick around internally that is solving some type of use case. And then we start to develop some 3D printed samples in-house. And this allows us to vet various concepts and to see if something's going to work as we are thinking and preparing to present to the client. The next phase is we start to present digital mood boards that are in combination with 3D samples, and typically we'll spray them, we'll paint them up, we'll decal them. We did a presentation to the Nike team for a project, and they were blown away, and this is Nike, so that was pretty exciting. They were blown away by just being able to touch and feel CNC samples, working prototypes, and even 3D models painted up with different finishes and aesthetics. So the power of having that 3D print is going to play a very central role in selling in a concept. And so a lot of times this process of 3D printing, presenting concepts, we go through a few cycles of that with the client in getting feedback. And then we represent it, and this cycle kind of repeats itself a couple times until we get it to a place that makes sense for everyone. And then at that point, we start to get the factories, or we start to get manufacturing involved. We don't get manufacturing involved right out of the gate, although some would think that might make sense. But a lot of times projects tend to shift gears. Midstream, you're thinking you're going to go down a certain route, you're going to use a certain type of material, and it completely changes its position. And so to start getting a factory involved and get them excited, I have this a lot where we start getting a factory involved, they're super excited about working with us, and then we have to kill the project because it's not. So we sort of try to gauge that interest. We try to get the project along to a pretty significant stage creatively before we involve them. And at that point, we start to get budgets. We start to work on the CNC or the rapid prototypes. We start to make physical working samples. If it's a headphone project, we'll work with the sound engineering to get that working. If it's a yogurt project, we'll be working on the cup shape and working on fine-tuning different things on that realm. And again, this process tends to take a whole bunch of back and forth. It goes through a bunch of iterative process of getting everyone to be excited and be involved with it. And then at the end of the day, it gets off into tooling, and then the tooling begins and it produces. There was a whole conversation this morning about, well, why don't you just get involved in, at this stage of approval, let's just do a 3D print. And we were talking about it earlier on the panel we're not yet at that stage where 3D printing could sort of take us, all the way to the finish line. But I think there could be an exciting point in time in the not such distant future where we'll be able to take a product from its inception, basically, from its initialization and from its concepting stage, and actually skip a lot of the tooling phases and get us actually into production. I think we're a little ways, like I said, but this is sort of just an overview of how a project works. And